All right, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the 5-day meditation challenge. If you're here, drop a comment. Let me know you're here. Say hello. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Hello. Good morning. If you're here, drop a comment. Let me know you're here. This is the 5-day meditation challenge. This is day 1. Hello, welcome, good morning. Thanks for joining. So I'm live on Instagram as well as Facebook. My cat's destroying something, so hopefully that will be okay. So for day 1, good morning. For day 1, we're focusing on love. So happy Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day, so that's why I chose to start our challenge by focusing on love today. And specifically love for yourself and others. So how do you enact love for yourself and how do you enact love for others? So we'll be tuning into that. Valentine's Day, as with many of the holidays that we celebrate, has kind of violent and not really lovely roots in where it came from. So I think just shifting the focus to make it about love. I mean, in my opinion, we could kind of use new holidays, but it is what it is. So we're just doing the best with what we have and aligning with love on this Valentine's Day. So I'm going to read a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. about love. He wrote, and this was an anti-war speech, I believe. So that's kind of where he was coming from. But he was really a sort of prophet of love. We went around speaking about love a lot as this really powerful, transformative force. So he said, "When I speak of love, I am not speaking of some sentimental and weak response. I'm not speaking of that force which is just some emotional bosh. I'm speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as the supreme unifying principle of life. Love is somehow the key that unlocks the door which leads to ultimate reality." So that's one of the things that he said about love. So this is going to be the theme for our meditation today, love. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in a moment. But for right now, I actually want to talk about what is meditation, because you're all here, you're all joining for this meditation challenge because you're interested in developing a consistent meditation practice, in beginning a meditation practice, in kind of understanding what is meditation perhaps and how can it serve you. So I want to talk about that for a moment. So what is meditation? And if you're here, please participate. And if you're here and you're interested in doing the full challenge and winning prizes, which are going to be a session with me as well as a discount to my upcoming Live Your Yoga 13-week transformation. So if you decide that you're interested in working with me in a longer, more in-depth basis, this is like a little teaser. So what is meditation? And if you're here and you're willing, drop a comment. Tell me, what is meditation? What is it? What is the practice? I'm going to continue, but hopefully people will chime in and participate. So meditation, I wrote down some things that came up for me, but it's focus. So focusing on a particular point and continuing to come back to that point of focus, which you can see how that would help you in various aspects of your life. Awareness, so just noticing what's going on, and rather than kind of sweeping it under the rug, actually tuning into it as an attempt to do better, to change. Jennifer said one of the limbs of yoga. Yes, so it's part of the yoga practice. When a lot of us say yoga or hear about yoga, we think about the poses, downward facing dog, doing some fancy upside down stuff, that sort of thing. And that is part of yoga. But those poses are actually in pursuit of a deeper state of meditation. So that's why we do them. So yoga is pointing to this practice that is sort of maybe more elusive to some of us. A practice to achieve mental clarity and emotional calm. I borrowed that one from the dictionary, or the Google dictionary, whatever that is. Danny said an act to connect to the conscious. Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, so mental clarity and emotional calm. So achieving sort of this even keel state where then we can be more effective in making choices, perhaps. Noticing our thoughts. So that's, it's just kind of a repeat of awareness, but specifically with regard to thoughts, noticing the thoughts that move through the mind. So a lot of people, when they come to meditation or when they think about meditation, they think they need to be able to clear the mind and remove the thoughts. Let me know if you're able to do that right now, okay? And maybe you'll be teaching this challenge, this course. But it's more about noticing the thoughts and allowing them to move through you. So acknowledging that the thoughts are temporary, a temporary state of being rather than something that you're stuck with, which is really challenging, especially when you're having a very intense pattern or cycle of thoughts. Paying attention to specifically the moment that you are in. So rather than having the mind wander in all different places and be not present, just actually tuning into what you're doing. So even if it's something as simple as drinking water, you're actually present while you're drinking water. You're feeling whatever the receptacle is, the container of water, and then feeling the experience of the water entering your mouth, your tongue, and then moving into your body. So being really present with whatever you're doing. And so this means that we can actually be meditating in lots of different ways. So you can be meditating, taking a walk, you can be meditating, washing the dishes, you can be meditating in lots of different ways. And that's something that I'll talk about more tomorrow or the next day, kind of how to meditate and what are different methods that you could use. But for today, I'm just looking at the what and the why. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, and returning to yourself, I think, is a really important one. And that's something that really guides my practice. And let's see. We have concentration, connection with our inner selves. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good pursuit with meditation as well. So I was saying returning to yourself. So coming back into the center of yourself. So I meditate in the morning, and I think it's a nice practice to meditate in the morning before turning on your phone. Hopefully, if you don't, I recommend turning off your phone at night while you're sleeping or putting it on airplane mode or something so that you have a break of from all the notifications and all the stuff that's outside of yourself, so that you wake up in the morning and you can start with yourself. You can come back to the center of yourself and realign with that before you start to let in all of the other stuff and kind of get confused. It can be really confusing, like who am I? What do I actually think and believe and feel? Because there's so much stimuli from outside sources, from all of the technology, from all of the other people that you interact with, from just like societal norms and constructs. So starting with yourself, returning to yourself and recentering yourself. So that's a big thing of I think what meditation is, and also moving into why we do it. Why we do it, to realign, recenter with yourself. So does anyone else have any reasons of why to meditate? Please drop in the comments. And if you're watching this later, please drop a comment or DM me or respond to the email. But why might you meditate? Why might you meditate? So I'm going to continue, but if you have a thought, please share it. So for today, why we're going to meditate is specifically aligned with love. Jennifer said, good for our nervous system. Yep, we get very nervous, okay? The nerves get very heightened in their reactivity to stimuli. So we're attempting to cool and calm and, center that so that we can intentionally respond rather than just react. I mean, our nervous system is designed to have us react to stuff. Something happens, something is painful, and we want to react so that we know that we need to change our situation to not experience that pain anymore, or whatever it is. So it's more like the connection of one's mind and body. Yes, mind and body connection is a big part of meditation, and that goes back to awareness. So what can I notice about my mind, or what can I notice with my mind about my body to continue creating that connection, so that I can create something else or something better, or keep improving in the path that I'm on, if that's appropriate, if that's what I want to do. So our purpose for today, to realign with love, as today is about love. So first, in looking at, in talking about love and kind of what is love, we're going to look at what is not love first. So to create that opposite, that juxtaposition. So in realigning with love, we get to look at what is not love. The first yogic principle is called ahimsa, and it's non-harming. Non-harming. And this is something that we're going to dive more deeply into in my 13-week Live Your Yoga Transformation. So if you're interested in that, then we can talk. But ahimsa is non-harming. So if you are harming yourself or others, then you're not aligned with love, and you're not practicing love. If you're harming yourself or others, and of course this applies to physical harm, but it also applies to mental, emotional harm, or just lack of caring, lack of taking care of yourself, or lack of taking care of someone else, or being mindful of someone else's needs, or enacting compassion for someone else in their situation or their needs. So we all harm, we all cause harm to ourselves and to others. So the practice of ahimsa, or the clearing away of the stuff that prevents us from knowing love, is about minimizing our harm. So the thoughts that we have, the thoughts that move through our mind, are often harmful. And it's just acknowledging what are those harmful thoughts, so that we cannot indulge them. We can acknowledge that they're moving, and they're not necessarily a representation of the truth. We're going to talk about the truth more tomorrow. So noticing the thoughts that you have that move through your mind that are like, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I feel sad and I'm stuck there. And then that's kind of like initiating a downward spiral. So noticing those thoughts that are harmful and are limiting to yourself, and switching the channel, changing to something different, or just noticing, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now, but I also understand in a bigger picture sense, with a wider lens, that it's changing. Okay, so that's the beginning of removing the things that prevent you from knowing love within your own mind. And then also with your body, how are you taking care of yourself? Is there a way that you could better take care of yourself to support your own health and your own aliveness, so that you can have a better mind-body connection, so that you can act with intention and with love in the world? Okay, so that's just a couple of things about yourself. And then with others, I mentioned compassion. How can you practice compassion for the things that other people are going through? So rather than going right to judgment of, oh, this person is this way and they said this, and I'm just going to label them as rude, or as, selfish, and as all these things, that we use to judge other people. Rather than that, can we just have compassion? Oh, I understand that this person is likely going through something difficult, or that this person has come from a certain experience, situation, perspective that has led them to act and speak and be this way in the world. So starting with compassion. It doesn't mean that you have to accept everything. It doesn't mean that you have to just be like, oh, that's fine, you're the way that you are, so just go ahead and treat everybody however. It doesn't mean that you have to accept that or stand for that, but that you're coming from a place of compassion and non-judgment first. Okay, so it's not about you. The way that anybody else is being is not about you. And that's a very loving practice in and of itself, because you're freeing yourself of thinking that this is a reflection of me, and you're also freeing them from being stuck in a box of being a mean, nasty, rude person or whatever. They're allowed to grow and change and evolve, and that's a very loving act. Okay, so clearing away the stuff that's not love. So the judgment, the attachment to negative thoughts, the lack of treating yourself or caring for yourself in the best way possible. And then seeing through the eyes of love and compassion. I already started to mention that. But can your lens that you're looking through all day long be loving compassion? So, we all have days where we wake up kind of on the wrong side of the bed, metaphorically, and we're a little bit grumpy. But can you kind of just shift? Can you shift the focus from being so stuck in your own grumpiness, your own experience, to witnessing through the eyes of love and the opportunities to create connection, enact love and compassion, rather than just be in more of that downward spiral? And so then what is enacting love? Enacting love, service. So what are the things that you can do for yourself and also for others? The acts of service. So you're not attached to receiving anything in return. You're not attached to any specific result, which is really difficult, of course. But acts of service, giving to yourself, giving to someone else in order to support and uplift, make them feel seen and cared for. Kindness, just basic kindness, using kind words, saying please and thank you, giving someone a compliment to brighten their day a little bit. And then the last one that I have is let yourself and others be as you are, be as they are. So not going around trying to fix and change everything all the time, which is hard. I feel like I definitely have been guilty of that. So coming back to loving awareness, where everything's fine. I'm fine just as I am. Being just as I am and applying love to that, letting others be just as they are, even if I don't like it, even if I don't approve of it in every sense, but a little bit of practicing, a little bit of acceptance, so that you can just settle into this mode of love rather than in this mode of everything's messed up and I need to fix, and if I don't fix, then it's no good and I'm attached to the results, and all these sorts of things that have our mind get agitated. So that's a little bit about enacting love, being loving, enacting love, looking at what is not love in order to practice the opposite. A quote from Rumi that I like to share is, your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and find all the barriers that you have built against it. So what are the mindsets what is the mindset? What are the thoughts that you tend to have and therefore enact that are barriers to experiencing love? And can you create awareness around that to then start to remove and shed and drop in and have this lens of love and compassion as you move through the world? So we're going to drop in and actually practice meditation for a brief, it's already 7:48, so 5 or so minutes, maybe 7 minutes, and then I'll share with you your homework, your little task, assignment, dare, and then we'll wrap up for today. And if you're signed up, you'll receive an email follow-up. So let's drop in. If anyone has any comments or questions, feel free. But sitting however you are, and this is another thing about meditation, there's no particular way that you have to sit, but sit so that you can have a long spine. Meaning the top of the head is reaching up, and you could also be standing or lying down. I'll talk more about that in the days to come. So in our practice of loving yourself and others, first notice anything that is blocking that. We'll start with the body. So what in your body feels tight or resistant? And can you send some loving awareness through the breath to wherever in your body you might feel tight or resistant? And that's not to say that any pain or tightness is going to magically go away instantly, but that you're just inviting a softness. You're inviting a receptivity. Creating awareness. So anything that feels tight or resistant in the body, just send loving awareness to that area. And then noticing the mind and its contents. Are there any thoughts this morning or whenever you're watching this, any thoughts that are not aligned with love, that are not kind, that are not compassionate, that are judgmental, that are tuned into scarcity and fear rather than love, compassion, abundance? And while, once again, you might not be able to make those thoughts completely disappear, can you send them love? And can you create the awareness that you have the ability to change your mind? You have the ability to change your mind, and also, without any effort, your mind is constantly changing. So anything that you think now or that you're attached to, or any thought that's been running through your mind over and over again, you simultaneously have the power to change it, and also it is already changing. So just clearing away any barriers, and maybe they actually go away, or maybe you just send some love and some awareness. And then can you practice seeing yourself through the eyes of love and compassion? Seeing yourself through the eyes of love and compassion. So practicing some acceptance. Just accepting yourself, letting yourself be exactly as you are without anything being right or wrong, good or bad. Just loving compassion for you exactly as you are, who you are right now. And then expanding that out to anyone in particular, any person in particular in your life that you feel drawn to, whether it's someone that's easy for you to love or someone that you're mad at, you have resistance to, or you just feel like you don't like. And you see them through the eyes of love and compassion. And seeing yourself and others through the eyes of love and compassion. So creating connection rather than separateness. Moving from a place of kindness and service. So how can you be kind to yourself? Today, how can you enact kindness on someone else? And what's an act of service? An act of service that you can offer without attachment, without attachment to a specific result or receiving something in return. What can you offer from your heart? How can you be of service today? And we need to start with ourselves so that when we give, we're giving from a place of fullness, from a full cup, rather than depleting our own energy. So how can you enact love with regard to yourself today? Take some nice deep breaths, really full breaths, and feel free to make a sound. Feel free to open the mouth. And then bring the hands to the heart. It can be in a prayer shape or just one palm over the other at the heart center. Allowing yourself to lead from the heart, from this place of loving kindness, compassion, and service as you move through your day. Let's just close with a deep breath, and then I'll say a few things before we end. Inhale. And release. Thank you for meditating with me. So your homework for today, and I'm going to send this out in an email. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you go to the link in my profile. I'm going to drop it on the Facebook. It's in my link tree for Instagram. So make sure you're subscribed and you'll get the replay as well as the homework and just my little 2 cents in your email. So your homework for today is to enact love. What would love do? So a little act of kindness, even if it's smiling at someone on the street, saying thank you, using eye contact, just creating connection in moments where you don't have to. So what other examples did I have? Oh, ask someone how they're doing and really listen to the answer. We'd have this pleasantry kind of format in this society of, hi, how are you? But it's just a greeting. It's not really like, you're not really connecting because everyone just says good or okay. But like, oh no, really, like, how are you? Like, how can you actually ask someone how they are in a way that invites them to respond and then actually receive how they're feeling, receive their answer, be present and listen. So that's one way. One example, let yourself and others be just as they are, as we mentioned. And an act of service without expecting anything in return. So what's an act of service that you could do today? What's like a little good deed that you could do to brighten somebody's day? So that's one homework. I'm calling it what would love do? So enact love. And then the other homework for you for today is to look at what is aligned with love in your life and what isn't. So just take a look, spend 5 or 10 minutes just writing down a list or a journal entry or something. What's aligned with love that I do routinely and what isn't? So looking at the ways that you don't take excellent care of yourself and just writing that down as something that's not aligned with love. And then maybe you then start to tweak and make little adjustments. Okay, so those are your 2 homeworks. I'll send them out in the email. Make sure you're subscribed. For the contest, for if you're looking to win a free session with me or a partial scholarship to my upcoming program, make sure you're subscribed. I said that a few times. And then also, please DM me with love in all capitals. LOVE. Please DM me love in all capitals if you are entering to win the contest. Okay? So subscribe, do the homework, participate every day, and DM me with the word LOVE in all caps. Okay? Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for joining me for our love meditation day. Tomorrow is going to be all about truth and honesty. So tune in 7:30 a.m. You can also watch the replay. But if you're looking to win, you do need to participate in every meditation this week. Okay? Have a great day. Facebook, Instagram. Thank you. And I'll see you soon.